Cell2Jack is an inexpensive home landline telephone alternative. Today, everyone has a cell phone. With Cell2Jack, your home telephones or cordless phones become extensions of your smartphones. Using Cell2Jack, you can drop your landline telephone provider while still continuing to use your home phones. A landline telecom provider is no longer necessary. Eliminating them will save you on monthly charges and taxes. Cut the cord and save. I stopped paying extra for a separate home landline phone service. I switched my landline phones over to Cell2Jack, so they now use my cell phone plan, which I was already paying for. Eliminating the landline phone service is saving me money, about $400 a year. No more monthly landline fees. It makes me happy. I just plugged my cordless phone base station into a Cell2Jack. I have 4 additional cordless phone extension handsets scattered about my house. Only the base station needed to be plugged into Cell2Jack, not the extensions. No more running to answer an important cell phone call. Now, whenever a cell phone call comes in, my cell phone rings as usual, and all the cordless landline handsets also ring as well. So I'll never miss another important cell phone call, because not only can I always hear the rings, but I can get to one of the phones quickly. I can either answer the call on my cell phone or on whichever of the 5 cordless handsets is most convenient. It's like having 6 cell phones placed throughout my house. Cell2Jack provided a whole home solution to answering my cell phone calls. Hello, my name is Ron Z. This is an unboxing, a review with technical tips and disassembly of a product received free from Cell2Jack for testing and evaluation. Cell2Jack is small and lightweight. Dimensions are 2.5 by 1 3/4 by 1/2 inch. It weighs less than 3 ounces. Even the package was well thought out and designed with care. The glossy cardboard carton opens easily. Save it. Setup instructions are printed on the inside, and overview features and tips are printed on the outside. A styrofoam insert protects the Cell2Jack and USB cable during shipping. It's very nicely done. Never miss an incoming call to your cell phone. Even if your cell phone is rooms away, your landline phones will ring whenever there is an incoming call to your cell phone. For example, if your cell phone was left charging in another room, like your downstairs kitchen, now you can take calls on your landline handset in that upstairs bedroom or wherever you have a cordless telephone extension. Using Cell2Jack with landline handsets for some of your calling instead of the smartphone itself makes sense. First, most people find a cordless phone handset more comfortable to use than a smartphone. Have you ever heard beeps and tones in your call from holding a smartphone close to your ear? Second, all the 3-digit telephone codes always work, like 311, 411, 511, and 911. Lastly, pressing a cell phone against your head is not entirely safe. A recent statistical analysis by the University of California in Berkeley said using a cell phone for 17 minutes per day over 10 years increases the risk of developing cancerous brain tumors by 60%. Bluetooth pairing just needs to be done once. Just turn on Bluetooth on your cell phone and then pair it to the Cell2Jack. In the Bluetooth slide of this presentation, you'll see red check marks next to Bluetooth enabled and Cell2Jack connected. Linking a cell phone to Cell2Jack through Bluetooth is easy. Up to 2 cell phones can be Bluetooth linked simultaneously. You start the Bluetooth pairing process by lifting any handset or pressing talk and dialing #*#. During Bluetooth pairing, the red LED blinks. When pairing completes, it turns solid red. The blue LED has a bright, light blue color when handsets aren't being used. Its color changes to dark blue when any handset is in use. The entire setup and one-time pairing was easy and took less than 5 minutes. Until the pairing is completed, when you pick up a handset, you'll hear a female voice message, no dial tone, warning, phone is not connected. To verify the setup has successfully completed, pick up any handset and dial 89 # for a callback. After the pairing process, when you get home with your cell phones, Bluetooth automatically pairs and your cell phones automatically connect to Cell2Jack. Every time you walk into your house, the Bluetooth between your cell phone and the Cell2Jack automatically connects. Your landline telephones then become extensions to both cell phones. Now, whenever anyone calls us on either cell phone, all my cordless home phone handsets also ring. We'll never miss another important cell phone call, even if we leave a cell phone at the bottom of a handbag, in a briefcase, or left it charging in a downstairs room. With my 5 handset cordless phones, it's like I got 5 extra new cell phones. Now I have the equivalent of a cell phone in almost every room. Cell2Jack extended the reach of my cell phone. Another plus is that now my landline's digital answering machine can save my cell phone voicemails. Let your smartphone charge in the spot that has the best cellular signal, where it gets the best reception in your house. When used with landline cordless phones, you'll be able to answer calls from any of the cordless handsets, even in those rooms in your house where it was impossible to get cell phone reception before, like a basement room. I usually leave my smartphone on the same table as my Cell2Jack, but I usually don't charge my smartphone through the Cell2Jack. I've been using 2 separate USB chargers, one to power the Cell2Jack. The other USB charger, powering my smartphone, is plugged into a smart plug timer. It's only on between 3 a.m. and 4:30 a.m. so as not to overcharge the smartphone. The Cell2Jack only feels slightly warm. It's never hot. My cell phone plan offers unlimited calling and Wi-Fi calling. So at home, calls are made and received through my Wi-Fi router over high-speed internet. My calling uses the network instead of cellular. I don't have to worry about cellular reception or 4G towers. Calls go through clearly and sound quality is more than good enough. I've never heard extraneous static, crackling, or interference. Neither do the people I call. But naturally, calls are of cell phone quality since they're going through a cell phone. Overall, the Cell2Jack has been a great value. Not only has it saved me a lot of money, it's been fun and a joy to use. Cell2Jack delivers whatever caller ID information to your handsets that your cell phone service provides. Plus, aside from that, my cordless landline telephone has a directory list of 50 users along with their phone numbers. It matches incoming telephone numbers with the numbers in this directory and shows the caller's name, if it's in the directory, on the caller ID display. This feature works when the cordless phone is used with the Cell2Jack. My cell phone service provider does not provide caller ID lookup. On my Android smartphone, I see both a name with caller ID when the caller is in my contact list. However, even if the incoming call matches a number in my smartphone's phone book, it still sends unknown as the name to Cell2Jack and my cordless handset. The caller's telephone number is always displayed. For iPhones, if the incoming call matches a number in the iPhone's phone book, it sends the name to Cell2Jack and it is displayed on the cordless landline phone's caller ID screen. Don't you hate being disturbed by annoying robocalls? It's been estimated that United States consumers receive nearly 4 billion annoying robocalls per month in 2020, and the FTC received 2.8 million complaints about robocalls. So yes, robocalls are a big problem, and the Cell2Jack has an inexpensive, foolproof solution offering built-in call blocking technology. Enabling call screening stops robocalls from getting through to your landline. Callers need to press 3 zeros before their call can be connected to ring your landline. It stops robocalls in their tracks. The caller hears this message from a female voice. After the tone, please dial 3 zeros to connect the call. It's like having a bouncer at your front door. It's easy to enable and disable call screening. On your landline telephone, all you do to enable call screening is press 14#, and to disable it, press 15#. These settings are listed on the Cell2Jack function description slide in this presentation. Stopping robocalls is incredibly empowering. There are 3 ways to change Cell2Jack settings. I think the easiest way is to use your connected landline telephone, entering the option commands listed on the Cell2Jack function description slide. Pick up a handset, hear the dial tone, enter the option commands 2 digits followed by a pound. Then you'll hear a chime indicating the option command was received. The second way is through smartphone Cell2Jack utility apps. There are Android and Mac versions. The third way, which I haven't tried, is with the free downloadable Windows 10 app. The Windows 10 utility can also update Cell2Jack firmware. People with hearing loss can increase volumes. One of the first things I did was to set speaker, microphone, and ringing volumes to their maximum. I put red checks next to these settings on the Cell2Jack function description slide in this presentation. Speaker volume is set by keying 28#, microphone volume is 94#, and ringing is 21#. A free download of the Android app Cell2Jack utility also configures Cell2Jack. Look for the Cell2Jack utility slide in this presentation. There are red check marks next to the parameters I changed. Mic and speaker volumes were increased from 2 to 4. I also checked strong ringer voltage and media audio. This increased the ringer volume and allowed me to use my smartphone's digital assistant more reliably. Cell2Jack also works with smartphone digital assistants. I pick up one of my cordless handsets, get a dial tone, then press the star key. After hearing a chime, I say something like, "What is the weather?" or "Tell me a joke." And after another chime, the Google Assistant voice answers. Siri answers on iPhones. I made a few changes on my Android phone to optimize Google Assistant for this. Look at the Google Assistant slide in this presentation. Red checks are next to my changes. I allowed Google Assistant to respond when the phone is locked and allowed it to respond without having to say, "Hey Google." I also have a Google Voice telephone number that forwards calls to my cell phone number. I got that working too with Cell2Jack. At first, the cordless landline phones rang for incoming calls to my cell phone number, but not to my Google Voice number. All that was needed was a change in Google Voice settings. I edited my cell phone's number from being an Android device to one of my linked numbers. Now the landline telephone rings for incoming calls to both my cell phone and Google Voice numbers. Aside from my cordless landline phone, I also tested Cell2Jack with several other telephones. They all worked. Rotary telephones will need tone dialing to make outgoing calls. If you want to use the existing telephone wiring in your home, just make sure you disconnect it from the previous telecom before plugging in your Cell2Jack to an unused wall phone socket. Otherwise, the Cell2Jack will be damaged. I also tested Cell2Jack with a two-line quarter telephone. Line 1 was connected to Cell2Jack, line 2 connected to a normal telecom provider. This configuration is good for those who want to keep their landline, but also like the synergy of having their smartphone connected to a landline telephone. It gives them the best of both worlds. There is also a Hangout Helper Android app which allows Cell2Jack calls to work with Google Voice. Then calls are absolutely free. You don't need a cellular provider or even have a SIM card in your smartphone. I did not test this feature because Google does not provide an interface for third-party hardware use. The procedure seems a little too complicated and flaky, and future Google changes might cause it to functionally break. But feel free to check it out and comment. In case you're interested, 6 slides showing Cell2Jack internals are included in this presentation. The printed circuit board is of high quality and was well designed. SLIC part numbers are obscured, as Cell2Jack is based on proprietary technology and 2 patents. Relevant portions of the patents with simplified block diagrams are included as slides in this presentation. Julia Chow, the inventor, must be a brilliant lady. She certainly did a super job. Cell2Jack is value priced for all it does. And right now, the best price is on their own website. You can save a few dollars by buying it there instead of ordering through Amazon. Cell2Jack was designed in the USA, and like most electronics today, it's assembled in China. There are a lot of variables in play when setting up a Cell2Jack. Operation depends on your cell phone's hardware and operating system, the cellular provider, and your landline phones. For assistance, visit the Cell2Jack website or email support@cell2jack.com. When I emailed questions, they replied with helpful suggestions within an hour. They promised to respond within 24 hours. Cell2Jack stands behind their product and apparently is very confident that you'll like it. Their website offers a no-hassle return policy. No pre-approval is needed for a return. Returns within 45 days get a full refund. I hope you found my presentation enjoyable and helpful. Channel subscribers will receive notifications as new best value product reviews are posted. Goodbye for now and good luck.